Lhey Digital Stamps in the Silhouette Studio software. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, we're going to start by downloading the file. All you have to do is press the download button in the Dropbox program and it'll automatically save it to your downloads folder. But we're going to change that. You'll see me drop down right here and I'm going to change the location to my desktop. I did that to all 4 of the stamps so that it'll be easier when we're working in the Silhouette Studio. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up our Silhouette Studio and create a folder for these stamps. So I right-clicked, created a new folder, and titled it Mommy Lhey Designs. That way I know where my stamps will be, and they'll be there now forever. So I'm going to try to drag, you'll see a highlight, and try to put it in the empty box, and nothing happens. You have to actually highlight them and then drop them over the title, and they'll appear right there. And we're going to just drag each stamp over. But you'll see if I leave it highlighted or with the lines around it and try to drag over another stamp, it just replaces it. So what you need to do is to make sure you click outside of the box and then drag in a new stamp. I'm just resizing them just so they're smaller to work with. So click outside the box, add a new one. Okay, you see how I just made that line? All that line does is move your center point of the stamp. So all you have to do if you accidentally click that is hit undo and go right back to what you were doing. You'll see I have an extra little stamp there, and that's because I did it again and I added over another stamp. Now we're going to give our stamps some cut settings so we can turn them into stickers. So we're going to hit select trace area. It's the little green box within the black box. And we're going to turn the high pass filter off, the low pass filter on, and the threshold up just enough not to make a blob, but to cover all the black lines. We're going to turn our scale down to 4 so that way it cleans it up a little, and hit trace and detach. All it's doing is getting rid of that white box around the stamp. If we were to just try to cut it right off the file, it would actually cut around that box instead of around our girl. So we're going to do it again to this stamp, but this one is a little bit different. Okay, so Lola here has some makeup, and we're going to change things up just a little. We're going to keep the high pass off, the low pass on, the threshold up, and the scale down. But what you'll see when we trace and detach, her makeup also detached, and we don't want to lose that. So you want to highlight just enough that you get rid of the box, but not her makeup. So we're going to delete the box, and then we're going to select everything, including her makeup, right click, and group this together. That way we do keep the makeup. Alright, for this Lola, we're going to go back to the normal. We're going to turn the high pass off, the low pass on, the threshold up, and the scale down. And then we'll trace and detach. Take off the white box and she's good to go. None of them have their cut settings yet, but they're just getting prepped for their cut settings. Just do the same here. High pass off, low pass on, threshold up, and scale down. Trace and detach. And she has a little bit of another box to the left hand side. Just go ahead and grab that one up as well. Okay, we're going to give it its cut settings now. You want to go to the offset button, which is the pentagon with the outline around it. Hit offset. I like to set mine at 0.030, but you can adjust yours as close to the stamp or as far away as you'd like. Okay, and you'll see a red line appear around your stamp. That's not going to print. That's just going to tell the Silhouette, if when you tell it to cut around that line. So we'll take it a little bit slower with Lola. Want to hit offset, 0.030, hit round, apply. Then we're going to go to our blade. You want to hit cut so it knows to cut on that line. And then I'm going to group them together so that when I adjust it or move it, they move together. So we're going to do it again to Jazz. Offset. Don't forget to highlighter. 0, 3, 0. Round. Apply. Go to the blade. Hit cut. And then I'm going to group it together. Now with Lola, it's a little different again. We're going to hit offset, hit 0.030, round, and apply. Okay, so since Lola had her super cute makeup, it gave us some extra outlines. So what we want to do is clear this up for the silhouette before it starts to cut it. What it'll try to cut are those little spaces, and it just makes it really messy. It mostly just scratches it. So what we want to do is to select any point on the outline, just double click on the outline, and then right click on each little point and hit delete point. And it's a little tedious, but it cleans up your sticker a whole lot. It gets rid of all these extra little cuts. So we'll keep deleting until they're all gone. Oh, and I was going to let you know that when you're highlighting for the blade settings or cut settings, you want to make sure just to highlight the outline, not the actual stamp. If you outline the stamp, it's going to give you two cut lines instead of just the one for the outline. Okay, so we'll group those together, or actually we will do the cut settings. Select the outline only, hit cut, and then group those together. Okay, so now we're going to zoom out and get our page ready. If you don't have a silhouette cutting machine, you can still use this program to print out your stamps and then fussy cut everything. So you'll see my settings are set at letter and portrait because I am using a portrait, but if you use your Cameo, you can just switch the cutting mat to Cameo. And you'll see the buttons for the show print border and show cut border. That just shows you the outline of where you can cut and where you can print. So since we are printing and cutting, we want to change our registration marks. I have mine set to type 1 for the Cameo and portrait. I have the link set at the standard 0.389. I changed the thickness to 0.030 just so it keeps it from having issues registering. And then I left the insets as the defaults at 0.625. So now I'm going to adjust the size of my stamps. I'm putting them all at about 1.5 inches tall. But however you would like to do it, you can do it in multiple sizes in your pages, and that would be perfectly okay. But for ease of this, I just kept them all around 1.5 inches tall. So I'm lining them up down the page. Okay, so I'm just going to adjust these so I can space them evenly. You don't have to space them evenly, I just do it out of habit. So I'm going to put these as close as I can together without any sort of interference. Then I'm going to go to the alignment and space vertically. Then I'm going to replicate it, and I hit duplicate left a few times. It went a little over, so I'm going to have to delete a couple of them, but I'm going to end up adding some more in. So I moved the Jazz over just a little so it would be within the cut set lines. I duplicated the Jazz and the Lola, and the makeup Lola didn't have enough room, so I just moved the last one over and spaced it horizontally. And then I spaced the Jazz and then the other Lolas, and I have a lot more room with the coffee Jazz, So I duplicated it a couple more times and then spaced those evenly. Since I have the least amount of the makeup Lola, I went ahead and duplicated that row and put it in the space in the bottom since I had a lot of extra room. Okay, so now we're ready to print. We just have to make sure our stamps are within the red line, which is the cut area, and are not in the registration or the grade hashed area. That's the no print area. We're going to hit print. You can change your quality in media. I have mine to plain paper, but you can change yours to glossy or matte photo paper for your sticker paper. And you can change your print quality however you would like. Then hit print. It'll print out with the registration marks in order for the silhouette to read the cuts. Okay, just make sure your registration marks are lined up on your mat as shown on your computer screens. Then we're going to go to cut settings, and since the red is more bold than everything else, we know that's already set to cut. I'm using white sticker paper with a speed of 7 and a thickness of 7, but you might have to adjust yours and play around with it a little bit to get the perfect setting. Then we're going to send a silhouette, hit start, and it will register and cut. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below.